I'll just put out a disclaimer that I am not an actor. I am a production manager. I mostly do all of my work through the technical side and the logistical side of things. I am hired by Yes Theatre to essentially build infrastructure these days, but or to help build that. But I'm hired as their resident production manager. This will be my third season. Third season! Wow! This will be my third season with them. In, I guess, the real world outside of Yes, I'm the production and technical manager at Why Not Theatre. I just left the freelance game as being a production manager, technical director in the world, in the independent world mostly, in Toronto. Yeah, I guess like I started my career about 3 years ago now. I graduated from National Theatre School. Before then, I was in the Maritimes for my entire life, working at a roadhouse called the Playhouse Theatre in Fredericton. I realized that I wanted to do more. I wanted to be more involved in theatre making through my side of the industry. I was kind of tired of the corporate world, the commercial world. I think it was very important on that side of Canada, just in terms of access to different types of art, but there wasn't really much in terms of creation. There wasn't much agency for, I think, certainly BIPOC folks to have a voice in that kind of art making. So I threw all my eggs in one basket and I went to theatre school at the age of 25. So very late into my theatre career, I decided to shift into a different path. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, thank you.
So I've been around since I was in high school, and I went to theater school. I went to the same theater school that a lot of people in Yes have gone to, which is George Brown Theater School in Toronto. Before I was doing Yes, I was studying like classical piano, classical vocals. I was training in Toronto. I started training before the pandemic. I was training in New York. So I was there for 6 months, attending the Broadway Dance Center, and I was taking lots of like, it was kind of like an intense training period for me, like my own like personal theater school situation. So lots of voice lessons with a few different teachers, lots of acting lessons with some pretty awesome people. And yeah, I've just been, before that I was doing Color Purple at Neptune. I'm supposed to go back to Neptune again, if things ever come back together. So, and they will. So yes.
I low-key follow a lot of like voice coaches and like Broadway actors on TikTok, and like guilty pleasure for sure. So living out my dream.
Yeah, it was pretty, like, it was kind of a dream, like working with like Lindsay Mendez and kind of the people that you watch as you're, you know, aspiring to do this.
In Sudbury, I started off doing a lot of competitive dancing here. There's a really big competitive dancing community here in Sudbury, and I didn't like the competitive aspect of it, which was problematic, so I got out of there. And I met Alessandro. We actually grew up on the same street, and he was starting this theater company, Yes. And so I did the first show, which was Hair with Yes, and while we were working on the show, I took on the role of choreographer, kind of like halfway through rehearsals, and I was so happy to do so. I had no idea what I was doing. I still feel like I don't, which is kind of a great feeling. And yeah, after that, instead of going to theater school, I went kind of on a strange journey. Started off in Montreal in clown school, which was wonderful. And from there, I developed a clown duo called Les Bunheads, and we toured internationally for a bit. We went on a bunch of like Got Talent TV shows, which was a pretty wild experience. And After that, I went to California and went to a school called Dell'Arte International. It's a physical theater school where we studied mask and commedia dell'arte, different kind of physical comedy forms. And yeah, I've been coming back to Sudbury every summer to do Yes, so it's been 10 seasons now. Um, yeah, so choreographer and resident artist with Yes, and hopefully we'll be expanding to other theater companies to get more experience in the field. Yeah, that's where I am right now.
And then working as an actor outside of Sudbury. Recently, I was on the national tour of the Urban Hanson, which is sort of on hiatus. So hopefully that will return at some point. I did a little stint at Musical Stage Company in Toronto. That was in 2018. And yeah, I've really sort of been enjoying being this, wearing a whole bunch of different hats and just trying to learn as much as I can and working with a lot of different people and building this company now into something. When we started, it was just, really just chill for fun. And now I think it has a profound purpose. I guess mine would be DWAY. DWAY is like, don't worry about it. I use that a lot. It's an acronym, which is both good and bad. I think it really helped us through the first 5 years of the company. Just like everything was DWAY. Like, don't worry, like we'll figure it out. It'll all be good. Somebody will show up with the thing, or one of us will show up with it. Yeah, I guess I've lived by that, and it's
I might borrow that.
That's
amazing.
Rune?
I mean, I don't know that I have like a specific saying, but I feel like kind of along the same lines, like a sort of don't worry about it kind of like inner peace kind of, I don't know. I feel like people think I'm like pretty chill. Like I'm a very sort of calm person. I feel like, that's my thing. It's just moving on the path, keeping calm, not trying not to worry too much, letting things go when you need to let them go. Yeah.
Especially because we don't have a ton of control in our lives as artists, right? The company has been wonderful in allowing us to have some semblance of control and knowing what's coming next and planning, but even within it, Jeannie and I talk all the time, when are we going to build a house? Like, are we going to buy a house here in Sudbury or should we be somewhere else? And I was like, well, we're never really going to be one place ever. So, which is kind of beautiful.
Yes, I agree. I always was told, like, don't worry about things you can't control. So that kind of falls beautifully in there. And Crystal, you had one as well?
Yeah, actually, quite similarly to what everyone's spoken of so far. I'm very process-based, and we did develop our own little statement of values, I guess, during the retreat. But a mantra that I've always lived by, well, certainly since theater school, because I had a knack for like really seeking out perfection, and what we've learned in the theater industry is that doesn't exist. So I had a colleague of mine tell me, don't prepare to be perfect, prepare to be spontaneous. And I think that's always sort of lived with me, especially within the chaos of theater. We always want to welcome chaos because that's, I think, where the brilliance comes out. I think with folks in my industry, perhaps maybe the older generation of people who've done my job before, there's like this misconception that we like to say no. We're always like, no, that's over budget. No, that's like not feasible. But I think with this new incoming generation of these brilliant folks here is that we always want to like say, well, how do we really prepare for something that we don't really know? What are the streams that we can take in order to fulfill that? And maybe it won't be exactly what version 1 was, but maybe version 6 is just as good or even better. So yeah, prepare to be spontaneous. The other one that we came up with was that we aim to enjoy the process and celebrate the product and not survive the process and resent the product, which I think is something that perhaps lots of theater companies go through early in the stages of their development, because it is all about go, 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 despite resources, despite people. And to speak to what Ali's been trying to strive within Yes at this phase is really how do we make this process more sustainable. So yeah, that's what I like to live by these days.
Love all of those.
I got one too, if there's time.
Please, Janae. Yes, please.
So when I was in school, we were doing these exercises where half the class would be up and would be working on an exercise, and we'd all watch. And it's easy to fall into a habit of kind of not being present while being pretty much like an audience member, I guess, watching your colleagues kind of go through something, experience something. And I would have this habit of going into my head, kind of overthinking what I'm going to do next. What's the right thing, what's the wrong thing. And my teacher had turned to me and like looked me in the eyes and was like, chop your head off. And it was so graphic and so amazing and visceral that kind of stayed with me throughout just like my life, and even just like my practice as an artist. Is like as soon as you get too much in your head or like overthink or overanalyze, I think that like the intellectual side of things is really important, but I really want to try to like lower that and kind of bring it to my gut, or bring it more, have my body more involved. And it allows me to be a lot more present, to just like chop my head off. Yeah.
I think entertainment has an opportunity now, through coming out of this pandemic, to change the narrative, because for so long it's been, this is the story we're telling, or these are the people on stage, as opposed to, everybody coming together is 60% of what makes something special when you get to see it with a group of people, right? What you see on stage, okay, maybe it's 50-50, sure. But sometimes for me, it's the people that I'm sitting with that make the experience so rich and profound. I'm actually far more inspired now in my career than I was at any other point, I think, because I'm so excited for the future. I think when we are able to get back into the theater, there's going to be a renaissance that we have never experienced. And I just know it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen.
Or what kind of we believe the reason why our shows were so successful, or we felt that it was, we were happy with, I guess, the finishing product.
And why they were meaningful, right?
Why they were meaningful, yeah, for everyone involved. And was that in the process, speaking as the choreographer, I would approach creating the material in a way as that I never make it. We really encourage folks from different backgrounds, even not non-artistic backgrounds, and we believe that everyone has the capabilities to kind of rise up and do the best that they can do, and we've never doubted that. And so from the beginning, we never kind of make things easier just because they have less dance training or they didn't go to theater school. We always kind of like expect the best, and we always kind of bring this like energy and positivity and encouragement, where we try to be there with them like every step of the way. And everyone always lifts everyone else up, and like everyone's training kind of balances out, and we find this like harmony within everyone.
Yeah, it is. It's a rigorous, the artistic process is a rigorous belief in the concept of how a person next to you could lift and teach you something, even if it's not what you thought you needed or even knew anything about, right? That experiences can inform the work in a way that creates a very unique ecology of people instead of just a sort of elite group of artists. And that, to us, is what makes theater beautiful, right?
Yeah, I think that it ends up being a lot more collaborative than we expect. Mm-hmm. And we always encourage everyone with different experiences to tackle them in kind of their way that they've walked through life. And it always brings it seasons the piece, you know, without them even knowing.
And it's not just here's my contribution. That's it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody enters and is seeking something and is learning something and is growing. So